Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're embarking on a fascinating and, honestly, maybe a little bit heroic biological journey. We're going to look at the exact mechanics of what your body actually goes through when you quit sugar for 30 days. It's a journey completely full of surprises, adaptations, and some pretty incredible biological changes. Okay, let's dive into this. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and making one simple, completely non-negotiable rule. No chocolate. No soda, no candy. Zero added sugar. Would your body instantly heal overnight? Or would your brain just throw an absolute tantrum? Well, the answer is actually a bit of both. Here is the biological roadmap we're going to explore today. First, the first 24 hours. Second, how the brain fights back. Third, day 7, the turning point. Fourth, day 30, body transformation. And finally, we'll wrap up by busting the biggest sugar myth. Let's get right into it. All right, section 1, the first 24 hours. So when you first cut out sweets, you'd probably expect these massive, dramatic, biological fireworks, right? But surprisingly, your body doesn't panic. It doesn't shut down. And despite how you might be feeling, your brain absolutely does not run out of sugar. Your body is incredibly efficient at regulating blood glucose, so physically, it handles the transition just fine. The immediate physical reaction is actually surprisingly quiet. Which brings us to section 2, the brain fights back. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is understanding exactly why the brain reacts the way it does. While your physical body is just humming along, your brain is where the real friction starts. Why? Because it suddenly misses its absolute favorite source of quick pleasure, dopamine. You know the drill. Every time you eat a candy bar, your brain's reward pathways release dopamine. It's basically saying, hey, this feels amazing, do it again. Take that away and, well, your brain does not like the change one bit. And because your brain is expecting that quick chemical hit, you are definitely going to feel it. Look, we have to validate the struggle here because it's genuinely uncomfortable. You might get intense cravings, headaches, some pretty profound fatigue, or just find yourself super irritable. While, okay, sugar isn't exactly cocaine, breaking this highly palatable food habit causes a very real, very noticeable withdrawal. But let's clear up a massive misconception right now. Your brain absolutely needs glucose for energy to survive. That's a fact. But it does not need table sugar. Your body can perfectly maintain its blood glucose using healthy carbohydrates, or it can even manufacture its own. So your brain isn't starving at all. It's really just being forced to adapt to healthier, much steadier sources of fuel. Let's move to and see how this builds across our timeline. Day 1 is basically pure dopamine withdrawal. By day 3, you're hitting peak cravings and fatigue as your brain throws a tantrum protesting the change. But right around day 5, that's when the magic happens. Your energy begins adapting to those steadier fuel sources, which bridges us perfectly into the stabilization of the next phase. Section 3, day 7, the turning point. Congratulations, you've made it to the 1-week mark. This is such an incredibly encouraging phase, and I love the idea here. Imagine constantly hearing someone shouting your name. Eventually, the shouting stops. The cravings might not vanish instantly, overnight, but the brain finally adapts and the volume on all those intense cravings gets turned way, way down. And as that shouting stops, 2 amazing biological things start to happen. First, without that constant barrage of super intense sugar, your taste buds actually recalibrate. Seriously, natural foods like strawberries suddenly taste incredibly sweet again. Second, those exhausting 30-minute artificial sugar rushes, they end. You finally flatten out that crazy blood sugar roller coaster, leaving you with steady, reliable energy all day long. All right, section 4, day 30 body transformation. When we hit the 1-month mark, these systemic, long-term bodily upgrades really start to shine. Let's look at the organs. Your pancreas gets a massive break from constantly pumping out insulin to manage rapid sugar spikes. Your liver sheds all that heavy fructose burden, which really lowers the risk of fat accumulation. And by replacing those sugary snacks with fiber, your gut microbiome absolutely thrives. Plus, for a lot of people, lowering that glycemic load even clears up acne breakouts on their skin. It's a huge win across the board. But hey, let's have a little empathetic realism here. Removing sugar doesn't automatically guarantee weight loss. Calories, your overall diet, and your physical activity level, those still dictate that. However, ditching empty sugary calories does often naturally put you in a calorie deficit without making you feel completely deprived. Just remember, overall health isn't built on just one magic trick. Which leads us to section 5, the biggest sugar myth. So, the crucial point is this. To prevent extreme, completely unsustainable diet mindsets, we have to establish that you do not need to eliminate every single gram of sugar forever. Natural sugars, like those found in perfectly healthy fruit and milk, they're part of a healthy, functioning diet. The true culprits, the real villains here, are the added sugars hiding in soft drinks, sweetened coffees, candy, and ultra-processed foods. To summarize the core takeaway here, don't fear an apple. Fear the habit of drinking your calories every single day. Look, health isn't built on eating one perfect salad, and it definitely isn't destroyed by having one birthday cookie. It's about what you do most of the time. Make added sugar an occasional treat, not a daily habit, and your body will absolutely thank you for it. The most remarkable thing about quitting sugar isn't that your body suddenly becomes perfect. It's realizing just how much your cravings were secretly shaping your decisions all along. The absolute hardest part isn't changing your physical body. It's convincing your brain that it no longer needs what it has simply become used to. So, I'm going to leave you with this to think about. If you had to give up just one thing for 30 days, soda, chocolate, or candy, which would be the hardest for you? Think about it. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.